Dear conference organizers and participants, this presentation is a part of the Bukhara Mission Report for UNESCO Tashkent and the Uzbekistan Administration of Architectural Monuments. The presentation consists of Bukhara's significance for the Eurasian corridor, model for growth, margins and core, conservation close-ups. These four aspects are summed up in the concluding growth and conservation model. In the Eurasian corridor, Bukhara is in between China and Turkey, while in the north-south direction, the city historically mediated between Russia and India. From the 9th to the 19th centuries, which is for the 10 centuries, Bukhara the Holy dictated the righteous city canon, the placement of its buildings and complexes, and the style of architecture. Central Asia's first political and cultural renaissance of the 9th, 10th centuries was centered in Bukhara and, driven by the Turks, extended with the 11th, 14th centuries Seljuk Empire from Central Asia to the present-day Turkey. In those processes, Bukhara's plan developed in the two-walled Seljuk city type, as well as in India's Quranic cities. In the Eurasian corridor, pedestrian cities from Constantinople to Bukhara developed a constancy of their radii, 2.5 kilometers on the average. This radius was used with the city's growth as a model for new territories of expansion. The mid-9th, late 10th centuries Bukhara consisted of inner and outer cities, the so-called rabats. This city canon was imparted in the 10th, 14th centuries to the Seljuk city type. It's logical today to maintain the usage by these historical cities of their 2.5 kilometer radius in order to conserve them, as well as to transfer this model onto the dimensions of the new districts and the transportation networks. In the absence of an efficient ring road protecting Bukhara, the historical city used to give way to transport in the east-west direction. Nowadays, the Soviet center in the south is about to be connected with a newly conceived center on the north, and that connection will pass through the historical city's eastern part. Therefore, in addition to the 2 or even 3 east-west thoroughfares, the city will be dissected by one in the north-south direction. As a result, the historical city is in the situation of the encroaching margins and the decaying core. Having emerged since 1930s, the road around Bukhara's north did not protect but isolated and distracted her historical core. The transportation around the historical city must present a system of tactful road accesses approaching the core, but not dominating in it. The core must remain pedestrian. The territories on the periphery should protect such a character of the core and be planned anew to create poles of attraction for citizens. The 20th century class struggle liquidated the cream of Bukharan society and left only 22 of the 19th century public structures. That century of destruction left the 1937 square with 4 blasting streets, of which one became a road around the city's north. In 1960s, 1970s, mahallas became microrayons and their mosques turned into centers of microrayons. Soviet-type buildings and transport penetrated right into the core. It lost its pedestrian character so that the present-day Bukharans hardly identify themselves with the city's original mahallas. The distracted and depopulated core must get its traditional centers, structures, and peoples back. Thoroughfares are to be considered the violation, and the transport accesses into the core should be developed in the form of cul-de-sac and loop. The core's depopulation can be stopped by creating the centers of attraction and places of jobs. A computerized scenario should mediate between master plan and developers in order to predetermine functions, spaces, and forms in styles characteristic to Bukhara. The transition since 1991 to a market economy brought new tourist hotels into the core. Towering over the monuments, they have imposed an alien style of stereotyped portals and, as local residents put it, stifle the historical core. Control of land use is necessary. Hotels must be beyond the historical core, not amidst it. The management for this process must have the juridical status and its own personnel. Bukhara boasts Central Asia's most refined traditional houses. Today, however, they are being transformed by industry of tourism. To profitably rent houses, owners add floors, and the new architectural language violates traditional style. Houses as hotels try to tower over the historical core to trade the best views on the city. In 1970s, 1980s, best view itineraries were foreseen by master plans, long forgotten since then. The city's history should be saved from the distracting chaos of money-making on tourism. What is Bukhara's scarce resource? Historical ponds throughout the core got filled up, their communal centers vanished. High groundwaters salinized monumental and residential buildings, cracked them, and pulled down. The city struggles for proper sanitary condition, since still a toilet can be found common for an entire alley or a slum compound. The 10th, 16th centuries underground canals, as well as the Soviet-time drainage system, ceased to function. Hydrogeological studies are needed to drain off groundwaters by cleaning old systems and introducing new ones. Water supply and sewage should be brought to contemporary standards. In residential areas, houses get rebuilt in burnt brick or reface their old frame and earth walls. The historical core gets robbed of its integrated adobe image, well kept over the centuries. Earth construction gives up in mahallas. Imitations of traditional earthen houses are made in cement for some hotels. Respect is important for the construction material traditional to this city. It needs the culture of constant care and maintenance, and its use must be ordered for specific fragments of the historical city. The special personnel must be trained for maintaining adobe structures, as this is prescribed by the UNESCO documents. The concluding model for growth and conservation consists of the following major factors. First, transportation network on 2.5 kilometer radius. Second, hotels out of the historical core. Third, cul-de-sac and loop as means of transportation flexibility inside the historical core. Fourth, jobs and mahalla centers to be revitalized throughout the historical core. Fifth, water drainage, supply, and sewage. And sixth, bazaar and mahalla scenarios to foresee and monitor the functions, the spaces, the forms. Appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Oh, please,
Sayın Profesör Şükür Askarova, Buhara ile ilgili bize aktarmış olduğu planlama sürecindeki ve gelenekselcilikle ilgili yaklaşımları için çok teşekkür ederiz. Hakikaten Buhara'nın geleceğinde ciddi bir planlama ve koruma amaçlı bir planlamanın ele alınması, mahalle ölçeğindeki çözümler ve kentsel urban fabric dediğimiz olayın net bir şekilde mahalle ölçeğinde kimlikli bir şekilde çıkmasının rollerini bize aktardılar. Kendilerine tekrar çok teşekkür ederiz. Ben şöyle bir ifade kullanmak istiyorum müsaade ederseniz. Herhangi bir sorunuz olduğu zaman soruları en sonundaki oturumun sonuna bırakalım ve mümkün olduğu kadar bol soru almaya gayret edelim. Bize aktarırsanız bu konular hakkında daha net ve daha aydınlatıcı bilgiye sahip olacağız. Efendim şimdi Avrasya Koridoru gelişiminde Azerbaycan'da tarihi kentler ve yerleşme sistemleri konusunda Bakü'den Profesör Doktor Fikret Hüseyinoğlu davet edeceğim. Kendisi aynı zamanda Azerbaycan Mimarlık ve Yapı Üniversitesi öğretim üyesi. Buyurun.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good day, my friends and colleagues. My report about historical cities and settlement systems of Azerbaijan in Eurasian corridor. Global processes of modern urbanization demand a definition of new approaches to the environment, arrangement of cities and settlement systems. A systematic approach to the sustainable issues and Eurasian countries, as well as to the development of the network for historical cities along Silk Road, Great Silk Road, may become one of the most effective methods in this regards. To solve issues for development of historical cities along the Eurasian transnational corridor is an important part of architects and planners activists from the Eurasian countries. This activity is realized in 4 aspects: theoretical, organizational, information, and practical. Research of every specific issue may significantly change the established ideas on the ways of sustainable development in historic cities of the new Silk Road. The article considered all this issue in detail. Azerbaijan Republic and its historical cities are located in the center of the Eurasian corridor. Process of urbanization in Azerbaijan and development of market economic etudes in historical cities and settlement systems areas put forward in the beginning of 21st century and number of qualitatively new problems. The realization demands this complex decision of problems of settlement systems, preservation and restoration of the region's nature resources, cultural heritage, transforming urbanization and recreation area of the country. This is a map show Azerbaijan settlement systems and grow big town on the territory of Republic. In Azerbaijan Republic, this problem has a number of specific features which are predetermined by scales of social and economic transformation in the country. Development of historic cities, Baku, Ganja, Nakhchivan, Sheki, Lenkoran, Barda, and others, occurs today in condition of private property, the market of real estate, change of functional structure and technology of the industrial regions. That is why it's necessary to conduct the architectural urban landscape planning and rehabilitation measures in complex to provide an ecological balance and sustainable vital process. The problem of stabilization of ecological equilibrium in the urbanized areas of Azerbaijan part of the Eurasian transnational corridor is specific concerning regional futures of settlement systems, development, social, economic, and the environment. This is a traffic system from the big cities of Azerbaijan Republic. First of all, here is necessary to note significant variety of nature landscape of separate areas. The rank of their distinction of precisely enough shown to comparison of development condition of apparent cities and areas adjoining to the Kura Araks of Loveland. This is areas on territory of Azerbaijan, urbanization areas. Today we can witness an interesting phenomenon that has covered many regions of Azerbaijan Republic. This is urbanization phenomenon. In the Baku-Absheron region, as other part of the Eurasian corridor, urbanization process go exponentially intensively. Regions in Azerbaijan Republic are Absheron, Nakhchivan, Shirvan, Mugan, Aran, Ganja Kazakh, and other regions is one of cradles and ancient civilization. Picture of Azerbaijan settlement systems is distinguished by extreme gaudiness and convenience that how this process is specially contrasted. This is skeleton of settlement systems model of on territory of Azerbaijan. This picture shows the development urbanization on the stages. Anyway, we can define such features of modern urbanization of Azerbaijan Republic, which are inherent to almost all the areas of the region. As background for the comparison on Azerbaijan urbanization, characteristics on Western are accepted. The analysis was carried out in terms: 1. Urbanization. 2. Urbanization rates. 3. Urbanization types. The investigation allowed to distinguish the following features of Azerbaijan urbanization: height urbanization paces under low urbanization level. Urbanization increase on the background of demographic explosion, extensive widening of the service sphere in big historic cities, hypertrophic Baku capital ground and its economic orientation to outside trade under a rather weak connection with the country periphery. A regional system of settling is being formed in Azerbaijan, including such cities as Baku, Ganja, Nakhchivan, Shirvan, Agdam, Gövçay, Siazan, Lenkoran. Many data consistently testify that Azerbaijan becomes more and more urbanized. A fast increase of urban population, cities' role, and among them district allocation of Baku city millionaire. These are outside further of modern urbanization process in Azerbaijan. This is a new building in the capital city Baku. Building on the other small city. Modern architecture in small city. Research and the Olympic Center, nature and housing. This is situation of Absheron Peninsula. Urbanization processes are almost general. They cover all Azerbaijan regions, but go intensively in comparative small areas, playing a role of settlement system centers. In these regions, headed by metropolitan and large historical city centers, large historical cities and city agglomeration are material result, a main arena and exponent of urbanization major qualities in Azerbaijan. They are transnational urbanized environment for the life of cities population, for the interaction of social and nature, which exactly here proves to quite intensive. From the point of view of town planning, forming of this transnational environment is settlement system process. The last levels considerate mark of forming Azerbaijan historical cities, modern architecture. This picture about a transport carcass skeleton on the Absheron of Azerbaijan Republic. This scheme shows the development urbanization. On the scheme, it's clearly visible how the density of the occupied place of Absheron increases. Three-beam model, development of Absheron on the future. We suggest formation of new city along the basic transport corridors. Today, Azerbaijan capital has become a place of introduction of world architecture and world town planning culture. This is Baku. Baku now. Modern architecture of Baku city. This is scheme town planning conditions of settling in Baku. We see that different territory of development on the future. Locate centers in the place on district Baku City. This scheme shows the different density in the territory of Azerbaijan. In direction of development on the future. Density built in the quarters of historical city. Baku city different on 4 zones. Now is a problem in the Azerbaijan capital city forming new center. We offer new pace of new center in the geographical center of Baku territory. And prognosis of building in the Baku on the future. Realize this model give us very optimal development in the future and balance between East and West territory of Baku. Model development Baku city in the future. This is realization model of, I said, about 4 zones in Baku. We offer different recommendation for each zones in Baku. This model development center of Baku city in the future. Baku city in the future. Thank you for your attention.
Evet, Sayın Profesör Fikret Hüseyinova bize koridor içerisindeki bir ülkenin ülke fiziki planlamasından itibaren kentsel büyümelerinin her bir mevcut kentteki bir ağ içerisinde nasıl geliştiğini aktardı ve arkasından da bunun bölgesel boyutlarını, bölgesel boyutlardan da kentsel boyutlara kadar geçişteki bu büyüme ve korumanın modellemelerini Azerbaycan'da nasıl gerçekleştirdiklerini sundular. Azerbaycan hakikaten gerçekten ilginç bir modellemeye sahip. Aynı şekilde hocamızın da bahsetmiş olduğu Afyonk'taki tarihi kent için yapılan çalışmalar da oldukça başarılı gözüküyor. Bunlar tabii tartışacağımız konular. Kendilerine tekrar teşekkür ederiz. Şimdi ben müsaade ederseniz sözü başka bir kente, başka bir ülkeye, Gürcistan'a ve Gürcistan'da Tiflis kentindeki geleneksellerin buluştuğu yeri tanımlaması için Sayın Profesör Mayina Mania'yı davet ediyorum. Buyurun.
It is great pleasure and great honor for me to be today to be in Istanbul on this wonderful conference and have this opportunity to represent architecture of my hometown, Tbilisi. Thank you very much. Thanks to its old urban fabric and to its very specific space organization of the city structure, Tbilisi ranks among the historical cities of very strong identity. Though the time changes the city and every day we have losses, it still preserves its identity, it seems to me. You can see on the picture the 19th century and print of the old part of the city. And I will talk mostly about the core of Tbilisi, not the 19th century Tbilisi, which is also very precious. So, thanks to its location on the crossroads, Tbilisi developed and its architecture developed so that we are represented in we contain cultural signs of both big worlds, East and West. We were not on the big road of Silk Road, but we were important branch, Georgia and Tbilisi in particular. It was one of the branches of big roads to West to East and East to West. And certainly the caravan route was going on Tbilisi. That was the reason that many caravanserais were built in the city, and on the riverside you can see around the church caravanserai buildings overlooking the river. Important date is that Tbilisi was found in the 5th century. Important date is 1795, when Tbilisi was destroyed by Persians. And then Russians are coming. We were annexed in 1801. A new era started. And lot was positive. From that period, many European styles penetrated and came to Tbilisi. Classicism and Russian classicism in particular, other European styles later via Russia. But Tbilisi added something which made Tbilisi, I think, very unique. All these styles became very native for us. The earlier caravanserai is a very important part of Tbilisi structure, and old caravanserais were built in Islamic manner, with pointed arches, with domed vestibules, with horseshoe arches, with brick layout, carpet-like. But all caravanserais were destroyed, and on the remains of old, in 19th century, they started to build on new fundaments. The same happened with the dwelling houses. So the town planning achievement of the past is present even today, because the layout of the network was preserved. That is one of the important typical things which is important for Tbilisi, and one of the criteria to make the evaluation of the city. And the network was used in the 19th century. So what we have today dates back to 18th, 17th, and earlier centuries. But what makes Tbilisi truly very distinguished phenomenon, except the topography, very beautiful we have. This is Tbilisi again in the 19th century. In the foreground, on the right from you, you can see two caravanserai buildings, Georgian Orthodox Church, Armenian Gregorian, Georgian in the foreground, We had 3 mosques. We have now 1 left. We have Jewish synagogues. Tbilisi is multinational city, and all that is reflected in architecture, certainly. But what makes Tbilisi truly very distinguished phenomenon, that is dwelling houses, because all projects in classicistic style were designed in St. Petersburg, as long as we were the empire city, and more even capital of Transcaucasus, as you know. And we were main cultural and administrative center in Caucasus. All construction works were very rapidly developing, certainly, and all styles were present in the capital. But design was done in St. Petersburg and sent to Tiflis as to other empire cities. But the ruler was not interested what was happening after it was arriving the city. So if we did not have much tradition of official buildings in Tbilisi, like credit banks and so on, we were very much deep-rooted in dwellings. And a very interesting type of dwelling was born. Excuse me. This is the bath area where Tbilisi was born, and you can see these balconies overlooking this part of bath, and there is the castle in the foreground, which was in ruins quite a while. This is castle now, and the quarter in front, that is bath area, by the way, called Seydabad. Because from Seyd, Shah Tahmasp brought from that village people who settled here, and very important part of our dwellers in this quarter are Azeris, which is also cultural heritage to preserve, not only buildings. This is 19th century situation of the same area. This is contemporary situation of the baths. This is one of the oldest buildings survived, dating back to the 6th century, Anchishati Church. Here you can see the plan of whole Tbilisi. By the end of 19th century, you can see this regular planning, which is truly 19th century. And here is the core, which is with medieval network irregular, which is typical of medieval period. And we are talking about this part, medieval part. This is so-called Bethlehem Church and Bethlehem Quarter with very old houses. Here, this is Ateshga, Zoroaster's temple we have. And next slide will show nowadays situation. Georgia, ICOMOS Georgia is very active, and very good professionals work there and are responsible only for this small quarter and doing very good job there. Very good work. These are caravanserais over the river, which doesn't exist anymore. 1940s was the first attempt of destroying city Rivière, and many caravanserais were destroyed. But I would like to pay your attention to our caravanserais, which are distinguished for one very important reason. They are turned to the river with the wooden balconies. They were embraced not only inside but outside also. It never was closed. They were out. The life was out also. On the outer perimeter was where merchants sitting, and inns rooms were opening also. This is one of the caravanserais. Built on the foundation of Royal Caravanserais, 1870s date of this caravanserai. You can feel this very Islamic building inside. Outside it has this classicistic that is very much Tbilisi, to have Islamic and classicism together. This is very Islamic. 1895 is the date of this caravanserai, with this Peshtak-like composition with horseshoe eyes and stucco decoration. This is one of the caravanserais which is in very bad state, but very precious. That is another caravanserai, facade of which is classicistic, 1820, to the river, and inside Tbilisian balconies, and the facade, it has Art Nouveau style. This is old print of Dmitry Yermakov, Cambiagio. Again, you can see on the riverside the caravanserai structures, in the far background the castle. And this is the one of the quarters we call Gala Castle, because it was down to the Gala, which is the biggest residential area, dating the network of which is dating to the medieval period. But the buildings here were, after the destroying Tbilisi, they were built in different part of 19th century. So you will see here styles. Facades were built in classicistic styles mostly, or Art Nouveau later, or Baroque eclecticism, or Renaissance eclecticism, or whatever, and with attached wooden balconies to these styles. And the courtyard system was something very important which developed in Tbilisi, and very unique to my mind. We had two types of courtyard, we shall see, but I would like to explain very briefly. That is one enclosed one, and another open to the air, to one side, with a low enclosure, making life of family visible from the distance, from the street, square, or riviera. I think that type of courtyard, open from one side, I dedicated my dissertation to it, and I met it only in Tbilisi, because you can see something similar in other Georgian cities or Caucasian cities. But our urban heritage, fortunately, is very rich from cultural heritage point of view. And they have something very common, but Tbilisi is very distinguished because of this type of courtyard I will show to you. And classicistic style, or other European styles, or Islamic elements, stucco decorations in interior, and one big room it was fashioned to have in stucco and mirrors and so on, are merging with embraced balconies inside and outside. Wooden balconies, 1860 is the boundary. Before we had wooden balconies, and after it was changed with iron, but still in courtyards wooden balconies were preserved. Russian poet of Polish origin, Yakov Polonsky, in mid-19th century, called Tbilisi multi-balconied city, and we like it very much. It is really so. So this is one of the, that is what I call classicistic style building in the background, dating back to 1870s, and you will see the courtyard side of this building. But classicism transformed very much on Tbilisian ground and other Georgian cities' ground. It became something very interesting, you know, not maybe as serious, very serious, but Tbilisi as if added something of its own to these styles. This is the type of courtyard I was talking about, with a spiral staircase, with the wooden balconies. Glazing is of later period, certainly of Soviet period, and the classicistic elements like rustic or cornices profiled, and pediments, not here, but we shall see in some other structures. This is the street where this house with open courtyard stands. This is a famous house in the Abbasabad Square, by the way, and with the overlooking balconies dating back to 1830 and 1850. And this is the open courtyard to the square, with classicistic columns on the right on this picture. This is the same house I showed the first with its glazed balcony now, and we shall see the inner courtyard of this very house. Classicism outside, balcony attached to it, and this kind of structure from the courtyard side. So this is, I decided to include my drawing because this house The Musharabieh is still left only one window. The rest is destroyed, unfortunately. This is also drawing which shows quite well the space organization of the Tbilisi dweller or Tbilisian architect or just craftsman. For 19th century Tbilisi and earlier, very high craftsmanship was characteristic. This is courtyard. This is house with closed courtyard, with overlooking 2 balconies, and we shall see with the classicistic elements, with this profiled cornices again, and the inner courtyard with wooden large balconies. So this is one of the houses in Old Tbilisi Gala, which combines many nearly all elements of Tbilisian architectural language: spiral staircase, fretwork, banisters down, the enclosure, you know. This is also a very nice house with the open courtyard again, and the Art Nouveau facade on the left for you was attached in early 20th century. This structure dates back to 1860s approximately, and we call this house with mezzanine. Mezzanine, this is our version of mezzanine anyway. So this is the not the contemporary view. I think this slide was taken by me maybe 5 years ago, and this is the river, the Kvari, Kura, which divides Tbilisi into 2 parts, and in the foreground is the old city and the caravanserais. You can see big scaled buildings. Okay, and now I want to say a few words, and I want to disturb my young colleague to help me, or maybe I will find my way to show next slides. I'm lost. So, from the point of view of authenticity, Tbilisi physical state is extremely bad. Extremely bad. Didimata, thank you very much. Thank you. State of preservation of the buildings is very bad, and certainly there are many reasons for that. I cannot blame only the situation right now. After the Russian Revolution, people were kicked out from the houses, and the houses were given to many households, and each of the family was cutting infrastructure and gutters and everything, and so it damaged, and sewage problem is one of the very serious problems we have. But maintenance is something also very important to the culture, which we don't have, I think. And certainly the ignorance of authenticity is something very important and very painful, I must say. For example, this house built by German architect Albert Salzmann, that is just one of the entrances. We had 5 and 6 gates on the other riverside. We had 5 entrances, old gates. And this was one of the gate didn't exist anymore. It was in medieval times, and that is 1970 structure. Very nice, very urban, big urban value it had. It was destroyed. I understand the backside was in very bad shape, but we could preserve it. It was urban value building, very important, but we did not. So this is the situation now we have here. I took this photo just several days ago, the last one. Yes, that building disappeared. They destroyed. And simply our square, I will show something also. Our main square, former Freedom Square, is in such a shape, full with new buildings, that is important to from the point of view of authenticity, to preserve every building, even if it is not of highest architectural quality. But we lost this square, you know. I will show I will have opportunity to show in other. Yes, that is also that is very heart of old Tbilisi. I will show the old picture of it. That is bath area. Bath is our core. That is, these houses doesn't exist. The name of street, it was Mirza Shafi Street. Mirza Shafi Vazeh, certainly. He's very much connected with Tiflis, you know. And certainly Mirza Shafi Vazeh toponym is so important for us to preserve. And I think if they preserve toponym, we shall be grateful. But nothing is preserved here. Here were 2 listed buildings, but it was destroyed during 2 weeks. We could do nothing, and the council did not vote for destroying, by the way, but it never went to council. I'm very honest with you. So this is the Mirza Shafi Street now, just the core of Tbilisi, opposite side of the archival slides I showed. That is Mirza Shafi Street now. Okay, if it is destroyed, we don't know what comes. Because I have seen 2 variants of projects. It was big scandal from our side, certainly, and people, very much. And so many Azerbaijanians left the city, and Azerbaijanians were part of cultural heritage to preserve here in this part of the city. Now, this is Mirza Shafi in the past, in the 19th century. In the foreground, you can see this wavy shape of Mirza Shafi Street, which means that it had medieval origin, and the not Silk Road, but it was the Marchandise Street in the past, right? And maybe one of the first streets which was born in Tbilisi. We all remember Le Corbusier's Le Chemin des Hommes, how these camels and donkeys were walking in cities and how the streets were cut, right? Via Appia or whatever, I don't know. And this is the case in Tbilisi. Our irregular streets probably come from this theory as well. This is in the foreground Mirza Shafi, Mirza Shafi houses, which doesn't exist anymore. But I want to pay your attention to this cliff in the far background, which is Isani, the 3rd old quarter of Tbilisi. Bath area 1, Kala we saw the largest, and the 3rd is over there, with the overhanging balconies over the river. And Metehi Church, our not main church, but medieval church, very important from urban point of view, not only ecclesiastic, this part determines city look very much. And because I will show one more project there. This is Mirza Shafi. I took this picture in 2005. It was still on its place. And this is Mirza Shafi last year, 9th of June. And you will see Mirza Shafi right now. That is Mirza Shafi right now. Now, not far from Mirza Shafi is the one, yes, another scandalous project is there. In the middle, you can see this high-rise building. Again, we could do nothing. That is Soviet, but still it is there. Yes. This is Narigala Fortress over there. The church is new, built on the old fundament, which was found after the archaeological diggings, because it was mentioned in chronicles many times, and at last they found we could not. It would be better not to build and to preserve the situation as it was, because Narigala Fortress was very romantic, very beautiful, very important. We did not lose, but we lost something, I don't know what, genius loci or spirit anyway. On the left from you, you can see this big building. That is, again, continuation of Mirza Shafi Street, very recent. It was 2009 they started, and so quickly they finished the construction. That is our botanical garden part of it. And but it was proved on the council. I cannot understand. That is our Sancta Sanctorum, this place. Nobody had the right to build there anything. No money, no power, nothing could force me to sign to that project. That is what I don't understand, and I want to share with you. Okay, this is the view from there, and in the foreground that building, that is this building we are talking about. That is the cliff I showed on the old picture, and that is the situation we have in the vicinity of that, and the structure, 8 stories they are going to build here. That is one more example, losing of authenticity after the restoration. Certainly restoration is a risk always, but that is in Euro-Islamic repertoire of styles of Sololaki Quarter, which dates back to 19th century, a house built with Georgian ornaments of medieval period. It is kind of a, I would say, romanticism, I would say. And this is after restoration. You can see this contrast. And what is very astonishing, that is the courtyard side. Nearly the only courtyard without balconies, but very interestingly done with high quality of craftsmanship. And look what happened, cement. And it was just faced for nothing. No need there was to face. It is just more expensive to add this money to whole work. You could use it for restoration anyway. Okay, and one more example, that is email, okay? Institute, Georgian branch of Marxist-Leninist Institute, which was built by Alexei Shusev, celebrated Russian architect, and we liked that building very much. And it was very special, especially from the back side. I will show this slide, which was built in constructivism. That is New City, 19th century. It happened on the Rustaveli Avenue, the main prospect of Tbilisi. This is the main facade, and that is the backside, constructivism, beautiful. And now they are destroying, and it was delisted, and no power we found to stop it. We wrote everywhere, me and my colleagues. I'm not alone, you understand, certainly. And you can see the situation now. And it was the not only, but very few examples we have of Gesamtkunstwerk. And that was the one with beautiful covered interior, with handles of Shusev work. Anyway, okay. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Mania Sayın Profesör'e bize Tiflis'teki geleneklerin buluşma yerinde, ki buluşma yeri aynı zamanda bir kavşak kenti olan bu yerdeki kent dokusundan mimariye kadar yapılan, şu anda olan gerçekleşen olayları koruma adına yapılanlar ve yapılmakta olanları gösterdi. Kendisine çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Ben süremizi aştık tahmin ediyorum ama son olaraktan konuşmacımıza da verelim ve bir an önce oturumda katılan davetlerini de herhalde karnı acıktı, onları da yemek saatinden çalmamak için. Louis Keçen, Sayın Dekan ve aynı zamanda İksan Üniversitesi Profesörü, İksan Mimarlık ve Teknoloji Üniversitesi Profesörü. Buyurun, sizi dinleyeceğiz.